Good afternoon, financial professionals. Abby Pletzer here of E4 Insurance Services, welcoming you to the B.R.E.W, Building Relationships Every Week. Thanks for tuning in today. For those of you joining the BREWcast for the first time, we like to kick off the call by celebrating today's National Day for November 18th. First up, for all of you in the audience that have kiddos or are Disney fans yourself, it's Mickey Mouse's birthday today. On this day in 1928, Mickey Mouse made his first appearance in Disney's Steamboat Willie. Excuse me. His appearance in Steamboat Willie's, and a celebrity mouse was born. Fun fact for all of you wondering why Mickey Mouse wears gloves. Disney wanted him to appear more human, so decided to cover his mouse hands. Thank you for also adding shorts, Mr. Disney. Also, today is National Princess Day. I promise I'm not making this one up. It originated in 2017 and was inspired by the movie The Swan Princess. Today, celebrate the princesses in your life. Most princesses make it known that you are in their presence, but in the case that you are unsure, here's a definition from Webster's. Princess, defined as a woman of sovereign power or a female member of a royal family. So happy birthday, Mickey Mouse, and have fun celebrating the princesses in your kingdom, even if that princess is you. Today on the B.R.E.W, we have our partner, Matt Pletzer, who serves as CEO of Lift Consulting, a boutique business consulting and training organization focused on elevating people, processes, and products. Today, he'll be sharing his wisdom on social selling and prospecting and building centers of influence. Feel free to use the chat box down below while Matt is live. I'll be keeping a lookout for questions while he's presenting. Also, all attendees are in a drawing for a prize, so be on the lookout and we'll be announcing the winner shortly. Thank you for tuning in, and without further ado, Matt, welcome. The mic is yours.
All right, thanks, Abby. Really appreciate it. It's an honor to be on the call today. So I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible so that we can allocate some time for questions. But social prospecting, building a COI network is something that's near and dear to my heart. We work with a lot of financial advisors and wealth managers. And oftentimes one of the things that I hear is, Matt, hey, LinkedIn, social media, it really doesn't matter for me because of compliance guidelines and everything associated with it. I don't use it, right? Well, today, my hope is I'm going to give you an alternative viewpoint of how you can use it within compliance for your organization and a way to really drill down deep and find the ideal client for you and engage in a conversation. So the first thing let's talk about is just overall sales cookbook development. So I believe that when it comes to selling and prospecting in general, there's this thing called a cookbook, right? And if we go back to why we use a cookbook, well, we use a cookbook because it helps us replicate what works. It helps us eliminate what doesn't work. But it's rare that any one of us would ever make a dish with only one ingredient, right? We use multiple ingredients. You know, if you ask me, I'm a terrible chef. So thank goodness I'm a sales coach rather than a chef. But that being said, we have to use multiple ingredients. So maybe asking for a referral is an ingredient within your cookbook. Maybe actually, picking up the phone, smiling and dialing, doing old school prospecting is part of your cookbook. But I argue potentially LinkedIn should be part of your prospecting cookbook for you as well, because one leg of the stool is just not the entire stool. It doesn't make it up. So hopefully today you'll see why. So the first thing I'd encourage you to do when you're thinking about just social selling as a whole and social media is, what's the lens that you're being seen through? So when you look at your profile, when you look at yourself on social media, do you look just like everybody else? What does your picture look like? What does your subject matter describe? What does your expertise show? What awards and recognitions are you showing to people? Because people read into that. They try to determine, hey, are you a generalist or you are a specialist? So one of the things that I always recommend our clients to do is first is look at yourself, put on the prospect hat, act like you're a prospect trying to buy your own products or services, and look at yourself and say, hey, is this something that would engage me? Would I want to engage with this individual based upon what they're putting out to the world? And if your answer is no, okay, no problem. Time to revise it and change it, right? Next thing. Now, I'm not going to be talking to you a lot about marketing and social media today. Why? Because marketing, there's tons of content out there about how to market on social media. Some of the things that I'm sure many of you have heard is, hey, tag somebody that you care about because you'll be seen on their profile if you tag them, or share relevant content, good content, and give back to somebody else by recommending them or saying that they do great things. It's a way to genuinely give to somebody else, but it's also a way for you to get more eyes and viewership on yourself. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is actually prospecting using LinkedIn. So one of the key things that I feel like is so way underutilized on LinkedIn is your own personal feed. Now, on average, most people on LinkedIn now have over 500 plus connections, or on social media in general, whatever social media platform you use, they have over 500 people that they're connected to. The problem with that is when it fills your feed, you just literally can't stay on top of that many people at one time. So here's what I recommend. I recommend you clean your feed. Clean your feed to the limited few that you want to follow and interact with on a daily basis. So you're not having to filter through all the chaff and all the information that really you don't care about. Fill your feed with the people that you do care about. Now, if you're someone who likes to use social media for marketing purposes as well, this can be challenging for people, right? Because it means that you either have to unfollow or unsubscribe from being connected to certain people to limit the number of people that you're seeing in your feed. Well, best practice to do this is to subscribe to LinkedIn Sales Navigator if you want to do this. So LinkedIn Sales Navigator would allow you to use both your LinkedIn feed for marketing purposes, but your Sales Navigator feed for just the people that you care about that are your ideal client and your prospects. Okay? So make sure your feed has no more than 250 people into it. Now, with that said, we got to follow them. We got to follow their companies, and we have to engage with them. When I talk about engaging with somebody, I want to reach out and I want to understand, what are they posting? I want to look at their activity. I want to write a personal comment in the feed. And that personal comment is going to reference specifically what they wrote. The reason behind this is I want to warm them up. I want my name to be something that they see on a routine basis, that they are thinking, geez, Matt Pletzer, that guy comments on everything that I write. He's a good person. I appreciate that. Maybe I've never met this individual before, but the more that I can drip market my ideal prospect by interacting with what they put out on social media, the more top of mind I'm going to be for them. One of the things that we need to keep in mind is that it takes a lot of effort and energy for some people to post on social media, even today. I know it's becoming more mainstream, but it still is putting yourself out there into the spotlight in what many people find to be an uncomfortable format. And so when they're doing that, us to pat them on the back, give them a high five, give them a thumbs up, and actually comment is something that likely will make them feel really good. We've all probably been that person who's posted on social media, and then what do? We go to that post to see how many likes, how many views we've had. Why do we do that? Because it makes us feel like it was worthwhile. So give back to your prospect, your ideal client, by doing that. Now, next point here. Find the groups that they're part of. If you go down into the feed of an individual, you can actually see the groups that they are part of. It is towards the lower part of the LinkedIn feed. You can actually see a similar thing on Facebook or other social media platforms. Here's the beauty of groups. Groups are what I call a virtual trade floor platform. Why do people go to trade shows? Why do they invest a lot of money in trade shows? Well, I'll tell you, mainly because a bunch of people with like-minded interests choose to be together all at one time. A group on LinkedIn is a virtual trade show. There are thousands of groups on LinkedIn. And the nice thing about groups is you have to be admitted in, so it can be a little challenging, right? But you have to be admitted in. You have to submit yourself and say, hey, can I be part of this group? But as soon as you're part of this group, a magical thing happens. You're part of a community. You get to see what people are posting about, but you also get to direct contact the members of that group. Because the administrators of most groups say, hey, Once you're part of a group on social media platform, you're now part of the Cool Club. So because you're part of the Cool Club, I'm going to eliminate the fact that you got to connect with them or be a friend with them to actually communicate with them. That's the benefit of being part of a group. Groups are one of the most underutilized things on social media platforms. So I highly recommend you join some groups. One specifically that your ideal client is. Now, as a financial advisor, maybe you're someone who's focused in retirement income planning. Great. Join a group that's focused on that with consumers that would be interested in that. Maybe you're a financial advisor who specializes in working with small businesses and the business owners. Fantastic. There are tons of groups that have business owners focused, and even more deliberate, they have construction only business owner groups. They have hospital only business groups. The world's your oyster. Next thing, pay attention to the personality profile of the individual that you're working with or trying to attract. There's this amazing software out there called Crystal Knows. Now, if you're a steward of psychology, I try to be a steward of psychology, you'll know that certain people prefer to be communicated to a certain way. We all have our own kind of personal tics. Crystal Knows is a software that you can use that will help you determine what we call the DISC personality profile of the individual that you're trying to prospect. Here's the cool thing about that. Once I know the DISC personality profile of the person I'm trying to prospect, I can then know how to reach out to them. I can understand how I should communicate with them. For example, you'll see here on the screen, it says a high D is someone that's direct, okay? That means that when I'm reaching out to a prospect that's direct, I probably just gotta be right straight to it. I gotta give them the details and the facts and just give them exactly what they want. Well, how can I tell that on LinkedIn? Well, I'll tell you, they write from an I perspective. They say, I did this, I accomplished that. They have all their awards and recognitions listed in their profile. They post, but they often don't engage with others. Why? Because they like to see themselves in the spotlight. They follow people like Richard Branson. Then I have this influencer person. The influencer is a social butterfly. They like to be part of a big crowd. When I'm selling to a social butterfly, or if I want to prospect a social butterfly, I'm going to reference the people that I know that we have in common. They tend to follow a lot of people on LinkedIn or social media. They have tons of activity because they like being in the spotlight. They're informal, so they might have an informal picture or background, and they show their teeth when they smile in their picture. Believe it or not, this stuff works. I can tell you, you see teeth in a picture on LinkedIn, there's a good chance they have high I personality within their profile. Then we go to the S. So the S is the steady relator. That's the person that does not like to be in the spotlight. They like to go slow and steady. They like to give back to charities. They like a sense of team and community. So if you're trying to prospect them, you got to pay attention to that and understand that. Well, how can we tell that on LinkedIn? Well, they have a limited profile. If they have anything listed, likely they have their charities listed. They speak from a sense of we, not me. And then lastly, formal dress and attire is someone that you might see in a high C, cautious or conscientious profile. This person cares about facts and details. They care about professionalism. They are perfectionists, right? They dress formally. They don't smile in their picture, generally speaking. They like bullet points. They have no grammar mistakes, and they follow Harvard Business Review. This is just an example of how you can use the profile of LinkedIn or any social media platform to figure out the underlying personality of the individual you're trying to prospect. I believe if you know that, there's a very good chance that you're going to be more successful at engaging with them because you know how they want to be communicated to. Okay, so just a couple more things here, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I want to talk to you briefly about having a center of influence. So a center of influence, I know we all know, is very important to building our overall referral pool and generate more business. I believe that you should focus on what's called a power group and not a center of influence. A power group is a group of individuals that agree to work together on a routine basis to build a better business together. That's a power group. A center of influence is just a group of individuals that network to each other. Here's the key thing, and I'll leave you with today. You have to keep your referral tree watered. Just like on LinkedIn, you need to be really active. You also need to be really active with your center of influence. You need to identify who's giving you referrals the most, write down their names, write down the last touch, and reward them for their referral to you. One of the biggest shames that I see with people when it comes to prospecting and selling is they don't give back and reward those who give to them. So I'm going to leave you with this today. Build your referral tree, identify your center of influence, develop the goals and behaviors for how you're going to reward them and recognize them, and develop a tracking system to ensure you're doing it on a routine basis. Here's one example of that. If you'd like to receive this format, it's just a simple Excel spreadsheet. Reach out to us. We're happy to give it to you. Reach out to E4, and I'm sure they'll send you a copy as well. Thank you all so much. I know this was a lot packed in a short amount of time, but hopefully you gained something out of it today.
Thanks, Matt. Great share. This is really informative and agreed. Lots of content. I've opened up the line for the audience. If you have any questions, and while we await Matt, the audience's questions, if somebody would like to reach out to you, as you can see on the screen directly, here's Matt's information. Also, brews are recorded, and Matt's presentation that he shared today will also be included on our blog. Let me see any questions from the audience. Oh, Billy Howard loves your spreadsheet, Matt.
Cool, Billy. Happy to send that to you.
All right. There are no questions. Now's time for our drawing. Matt, I'm going to ask you to look into your virtual top hat and give us a number between 1 and 22.
3 is my favorite number, so I have to go with 3.
Excellent, excellent. Who's the winner? Who's the winner? Margaret Kinsella Johnson. Congratulations. Be on the lookout for a coffee card coming your way from all of us here at E4 Insurance Services. Thanks for joining. Also, no brew next week, guys. It's Thanksgiving, and we will all be stuffed with gratitude for all of you being part of E4 Insurance Services. But we'll be back on the first Wednesday of December and have all sorts of fun and informative brews coming your way. Thanks for tuning in, and be on the lookout for future invitations.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.